Giving all praises, honors, and glories unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Akakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that told me this truth that rule well. Shalom to the elect scattered through the four corners of the earth. This is Kodash Payah. And the Lord's temple will be rebuilt on the third day. Alright? The Lord's temple will be rebuilt on the third day, starting with his men. And we're approaching that third day. Alright? When Yahweh Shai spoke about the temple being built up on the third day, which he was talking about the elect. As you can see here on the screen, 144,000. Then you're going to have, the women and children, helpers of the prophets. But nevertheless, it starts with the men, and we are the temple of Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Akakwadash, who the world ignorantly call God. Yahweh, meaning he is or he exists. Bahashim, in the name of Yahweh Shai, who the world calls JC. As you can see here, meaning what? He delivers, because he's coming back to deliver his elect. Alright? Because the temple, the kingdom of heaven is going to be established on earth physically. Alright? When Yahweh Shai comes back with the holy angels, which is why he's the King of Kings. See, the Lord dwells 9 temples made with hands, man. Because it's all corrupt. So this is why we even gonna get new bodies out of these decrepit bodies. The temple starts with us. But let's read on. This is the book of Hosea, chapter 6, verse 1. Come and let us return unto the Lord. So we must return back unto the Lord through the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, because that's what keeps the house together, as it tells you in Proverbs 24:3. Lord willing, we get into it. But it says, for he hath torn and he will heal us. He hath smitten and he will bind us up. And that's what he's doing now. Pursuing in Psalms 55, how he's waking us up in the midst of our enemies, in the face of our enemies. But here's the point. After 2 days will he revive us. In the third day he will raise us up. And we shall live in his sight, because we're going to live with Yahweh Shai in the flesh when he comes back in his full glory. And we're going to be glorified with him, the elect. All right? And, when you understand this, after 2 days, when it says after 2 days where he revived, you got to understand. Matter of fact, let's get 2 Peter's real quick. Salakia. Alright, this is the book of 2 Peter's chapter 3, verse 8. It says, but beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. Alright, so one day to us is 1,000 years to the Lord, and Yahweh Shai was on the scene about 2,000 plus years ago, which would be considered 2 days ago. See, so the timing is different. Even our age, we lived longer. The longest man was Methuselah, almost 1,000 years. And now we live to the average of, fucking 70 years old, 80. So we got to get out these corrupted bodies. The earth the earth waxed worse and worse and got weaker through our age, as it tells you in Apocrypha. So even the earth is mourning, man. There must be matter of fact, and let's get that word. After 2 days, the Lord will revive us. All right, so here it is in the blue letter, Hosea 6:2. After 2 days, will he revive us. In the third day, he will raise us up, and we shall live in his sight. So let's get revived, right?
Strong's H2421. Chaya. Chaya.
To live, have life, remain alive, sustain. And what's part of the promise of the covenant? Immortal bodies, new bodies. As Paul was speaking about. Right? We don't live here. We're just surviving, making ends meet. We're in captivity. We've been in captivity since Egypt, ancient Babylon, going all the way back to the beginning. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, which are the biblical Israelites, has been under the hands of the oppressors of all these heathens, but primarily Esau, the Edomites, so-called Caucasians, the elites, the ones that say they are Jews but are not. They're the real synagogue of Satan, but we dead in this world. But guess what? We live in Yahushua through his wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And through faith is what's going to justify us in the day of the Lord. To live, to have life. We don't have life. There ain't no, we walk in the valley of the shadow of death here. There's no life here. We're in hell. Hell's a predicament. Damn, that's heavy. Because once I mentioned that, I said what? From death. We're never going to die in the kingdom because we're never going to go off. So that's the sting of death, sin. You see? Come on, man. All right? I got revive as well in etymology. Regain consciousness, recover health. And that's the real health. The meaning, bring back to use or notice. And what did Baruch say out of Lord? We in captivity, but not for our destruction. The Lord's bringing us back to our remembrance, raising up the tabernacle of David. You see, as a matter of fact, let's get it. All right, let's get that scripture real quick. All right, that's in the book of Amos. All right, this is the book of St. John, chapter 2, verse 19. Yahushua answered and said unto them, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. Then said the Jews, 46 years was this temple in the building, temple in building. So it took them 42 years to build it. And wilt thou rear it up in 3 days? So they're like, it took 42 years to build this. And you talking about destroying it and building it in 3 days? Because they were thinking in the flesh, carnally. They weren't thinking and understanding or discerning Yahushua's words spiritually. It wasn't given unto them. Verse 21, but he spake of the temple of his body, and Yahushua was raised up on the 3rd day. See, but he is the word. So when we build, we're building on the words of Yahushua, which is that rock. You see? Which the scriptures refer to us as what? The lively stones. Build a building, build it up with stones. All right, Yahushua is the cornerstone. So let's get another scripture real quick. Because the Lord's raising us up now, and the elites, people starting to see it, man. Let's go to Hebrews. Brothers gotta have faith, because we're coming back to our lineage, the house of David. The tabernacle of David. Hebrews 9 and 11. In the house, that's who we are, our lineage. Hebrews 9 and verse 11. It says, but Hamashiach Yahushua being come and high priest of good things to come by a greater and more perfect tabernacle, not made with hands, that is to say, not of this building. Let's read it one more time. Hebrews chapter 9, verse 11. But Hamashiach Yahushua, and I say Hamashiach because Christ is an anointed one. Anyway, but Hamashiach Yahushua being come and high priest of good things to come. Right? So he was the high priest by a greater and more perfect tabernacle. Right? Remember, Yahushua was made a little lower than the angels, as Paul stated. Why? Because he was in this flesh. He had to suffer, as well. But it says, not made with hands, that is to say, not of this building. So, ain't no physical buildings. The Lord said there shall not be left here one stone, roughly paraphrasing. This place is going to be destroyed, Babylon the Great, America. And it will not be built, but the house of David shall be revived and live. Neither by the blood of goats and calves, but by his own blood. He entered in once into the holy place, having obtained eternal redemption for us. Damn. Call Lord, now Yabashim Yashab Bashim Kakwadash is a beautiful precept right here. I'm going to send that to brothers, man. That's a good one. Let's read it again. Neither by the blood of goats and calves, but by his own blood, because Yahushua was that ultimate sacrifice for us being revived, coming out the, being resurrected spiritually, and coming out the dead state, He entered in once into the holy place, having obtained eternal redemption for us. So that's our redemption. So let's get the book real quick. Let's get Salakia. Let's get the book of Amos. Salakia, I went to Obadiah by accident. Which Obadiah goes into the downfall of this kingdom anyway. So that's spiritual, man. But I meant to get Amos, so forgive me. Here it is. Amos chapter 9, verse 11. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. Alright? That they may possess the remnant of Edom and of all the heathen, which are called by my name, saith the Lord Yahweh that doeth this. So, there you go. Kings, we're going to be, back in our immortal state. I mean, not back, but for the first time, hey, man, and that's what we look for. A new kingdom, a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness, a new heaven, Now let's get 1 Corinthians, the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 9. It says, for we are laborers together with God. Ye are God's husbandry. Ye are God's building. All right? And you got to understand it's a spiritual temple, that's being built up, right now. The Lord is bringing back the tabernacle of David right now. You're seeing it be built up, because everything reincarnates. The house of David, and you got the house of Saul, you got prophets of Baal, they all came back. But this is why when you read the scriptures, the characteristics of our forefathers, you would understand who the teachers are, and through the Spirit, if the Lord's something which you'll discern, all right, this is the house of David. It matches up with scripture, man. If you was wicked back then, you're going to be wicked now. If you was righteous then, you'll be righteous now. You see? Let's get Proverbs. I might close it off on this. Because what? We seek a kingdom, a city to come. We don't have no continuing city here, as the scripture says. Paul stated. We don't have no continuing city, We're tossed to and fro like a ball. Captivity to captivity to captivity. Ah, man. It's over for that. Revelation 7. Proverbs 24 and 3. I'm going all the way down. It says, desire within. Alright, verse 3, right? So it says, through wisdom is a house builded, and by understanding it is established. You see, because what? Lord spoke about men building their house on sand. It's going to easily collapse if they don't have sound doctrine. You see? A lot of people just winging it, man. And by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and pleasant riches. And so, through the truth, man, this is how we're storing up our spiritual bank account. And plus, them new bodies, that's a new house. That's a new. And then also, man, we're going to inherit what what the Lord said. In my house there are many mansions. So it's what we look forward to, man. All right. The kingdom is going to be paved with gold, the floor. You know what I mean? It's just, we're going to glow. We're going to have a glow. Our people's going to have a glow to us. Our shower is going to shine. They ain't going to be even need of the sun. That's how, I mean, when you think about it, man, it's just even thinking about the basics is like, God damn, like you can almost not can almost not be able to fathom it. That's what we desire. So we're being revived on the third day, spiritual temple. All right. Matter of fact, let me. No, I know that's in Hebrews. Okay. This is the book of Hebrews 13 and 14. For here have we no continuing city, but we seek one to come. See? So in order for the kingdom of heaven, which starts with us, but for it to be established on earth, the other kings of this earth, the wicked kingdoms, has to be destroyed. You know? Straight up. It can't be, there ain't gonna be no wickedness in the kingdom, other heathens doing whatever they want. Nah. We're gonna put everybody in chin check, man. Rightfully so. And they're gonna love it too, because it's gonna be a righteousness, man. You know? These other heathen, they want us to come back in our natural state. You know? Go to the yo, shout out to the passport boys. Anyway, with that, shalom.